Thanks for joining us today. Welcome to the Center for State's video series on the 6 functions of teaming for change and implementation. This series is produced by the Capacity Building Center for States and funded by the Children's Bureau. This series touches each of the change and implementation topics, as building a diverse team at each step in the change and implementation process is critical to its success. Before starting this series, have you read the teaming brief and completed the first section of the teaming workbook? If not, we recommend you take some time to complete these steps and then return here to where you left off. Before we begin, we'd like you to take a few minutes to consider your own experience selecting and building a team to accomplish a task or tackle a problem. Have you ever needed to complete a task or tackle a problem and knew you could not do it alone? When did you determine that you needed help? What did you do? How did you decide who you would ask for help? How did you know you had all of the help you would need to tackle the problem or task? If you could not find the help that you needed, what did you do about it? Can you think of a time when you've been part of a team that needed to change in order to complete the task? What worked or did not work? Use your teaming workbook to write down your answers to these questions. Remember, you can pause this video at any time to record your thoughts and refer to them as you complete all 6 videos in the series. The illustration on the slide represents the change and implementation process and the relationships between different topics and steps highlighted. Assessing organizational readiness on the outer ring is ongoing throughout the process, while teaming on the inner ring is a key consideration during all other activities. Each icon in the second ring represents an important step in the change and implementation process. While the icons are represented sequentially, in practice, there will often be overlap and movement back and forth among the activities. An implementation team is the team or set of teams representing diverse skill and perspectives across an organization, including stakeholders that perform the work of implementing change. Their tasks might include developing, supporting, and overseeing the implementation plan. For example, developing a multifaceted comprehensive work plan. Championing the change effort and securing the necessary resources. Addressing implementation barriers and opportunities. Or using data to monitor progress and make informed decisions to ensure the change initiative's success. Teams can be formed at several points in a change and implementation process. While the core steering team needs to come together at the beginning to guide the work and make critical decisions regarding team members and teaming structures, sub-teams or work groups may be formed and adapted as needed throughout the change and implementation process to carry out specific activities. Achieving effective, sustainable change at a child welfare agency is less likely without a team in place to lead and organize the process of implementation. Thus, creating an implementation team is a crucial early step in implementing a change and offers many benefits, such as building an agency's internal capacity to manage change and ensuring effective communication with agency leadership and other important stakeholders. Teams also help guide the implementation process in a mindful and strategic way and plan for the sustainability of new practices, policies, and programs. Building a team models the principles and benefits of inclusion, collaboration, teamwork, and joint decision-making, and fosters buy-in and shared ownership for agency decisions and direction. And effective teaming builds credibility for the change initiative. Before putting together an implementation team or set of teams, agency leadership should determine the type of tasks necessary for implementation and what skills, knowledge, and input are needed to accomplish them. The most effective teams bring together a variety of agency personnel and stakeholders with different roles, talents, perspectives, and skill sets. It is important to include team members that represent the diverse characteristics of the communities served by the agency when feasible, as well as consider the most effective size of the team for doing the work needed. Before building a team, organizations may want to consider a few key capacities of effective teams. Resources, such as concrete materials and assets, include having the right number of team members to carry out the work while keeping the team as small as possible to facilitate effective communication. Infrastructure, such as organizational structure, policies, and protocols, might include having an organized communication plan, a clear decision-making process, and an agreed-upon working approach. Culture and climate, such as shared beliefs, values, and attitudes, might include being committed to the intervention being implemented, having a common purpose, and following a well-defined set of common objectives, as well as building relationships based on trust and sharing leadership roles among team members as needed. Knowledge and skills, like staff expertise and competencies, include selecting the right individuals with the skills and the time to lead and carry out the work of the team. And lastly, engagement and partnerships, for example, interorganizational and intra-organizational relationships and connections, such as creating buy-in and enthusiasm for the intervention being implemented within the community being served, and seeking input from community members and other partners regarding the choice of the intervention and the implementation process. The teaming brief is intended to help child welfare agency leaders, managers, and stakeholders build and sustain effective and efficient teams to guide the change process. It does this by providing step-by-step guidance to build and maintain teams throughout the change and implementation process. Teaming is broken down into 6 functions or tasks. 1. Identify team purpose. 2. Identify team members and teaming structure. 3. Develop a team charter. 4. Develop a team communication plan and external communication strategy. 5. Work together to guide the implementation process. And 6. Debrief, evaluate, and identify next steps. In this module, we will kick off our conversation about teaming by looking at number 1, identify the team's purpose. Typically, teams are formed in response to the initial identification of a problem and the agency's decision to address the problem through improvement planning. The first step in identifying the team purpose is the development of mission, goals, and objectives to guide the team. Identifying team purpose provides a clear understanding of the need and the reason behind the formation of the team for all team members. And the purpose clarifies agency leadership's expectations of the team and their role in the organizational structure. Teams identify their purpose beginning with developing a team mission statement, which is a short paragraph, a few sentences at most, that describes the team's primary purpose. It answers the question, what is the need that is addressed by forming the team? Team goals and objectives answer what the change the team hopes to achieve through the initiative. Ensure a clear team purpose is identified by considering the following questions when writing the team mission statement, goals, and objectives. What is the problem or problems the team will be addressing? What is the goal or outcome the team needs to achieve? How will the team be aligned within the agency's organizational structure? And will single or multiple teams be necessary at the initial stage of the process? Answering these questions together can help organizations to clearly identify team purpose and prepare the team or teams for the next step in teaming, identify team members, and teaming structure. Let's hear about an example. Through deeper problem exploration and data analysis, Diamond County determined that the root cause of the permanency challenges they had were a lack of adequate assessments that resulted in case plans that did not target the underlying conditions or contributing factors or accurately identify services that would promote behavior change. They went through the process of developing a theory of change and selecting an intervention to adapt that would help improve capacity to accurately assess caregiver readiness for change and identify services that would promote behavior change. Initially, Diamond County's executive leadership team determined that they would need a project management team to help with the implementation of the new intervention, and a stakeholder advisory team to help identify needs and services to meet the needs of families within the county that come to the attention of the child welfare system. It looks like the agency is working to identify the team purpose for their implementation team and has solidified the goals and objectives of each of these initial teams. What do you think might be their next step? The next step in teaming for change and implementation is identify team members and a teaming structure. Let's take a moment to check in on what you've learned about identifying team purpose. Why do agencies identify team purpose? To provide a clear understanding for all stakeholders, to clarify roles and expectations of the team, and to define the mission, goals, and objectives. How do agencies identify team purpose? By developing a mission that answers the identified need the team will address, and goals and objectives that illustrate what the team hopes to achieve. What can help agencies identify team purpose? Considering the problem or problems the team will address, the goals or outcomes needed, and how the team will be aligned within the organization. Now, take this a step further by reviewing the reflection questions and practice exercise for Identify Team Purpose in your teaming workbook to connect what you've learned to your own experience. Up next is Identify Team Members and Teaming Structure, the second function in teaming for change and implementation.